And welcome to Poppy's Workshop, where from little acorns, great oaks grow. So, good Sunday morning. It is September the 15th. And still working on those 120 toys. I'm over 90, but I had to pull a couple toys out of the pile. Mainly I was just kind of concerned about, I'm talking with my hands. Oh, I guess you can see that. I was a little bit concerned with some of the child safety on the pieces. And then I had some I got to give as gifts. So, it's like, well, I already had them. I might as well pull them out. And I'm kind of changing my philosophy on how I was doing toys. I was finishing them in linseed oil, but the problem is that they take so long to cure. And then even after in the curing process, I had them in a cardboard box, and the cardboard just absorbed some of the linseed oil, and there were some pieces that did not have linseed oil that absorbed it in spots, so I had to buff that out a little bit as best as possible. But yeah, it's wild. So anyway, I'm going to try and do a somewhat quiet workshop today. We'll get to what I'm working on today. That's why you see some wheels here. We're going to do a couple simple toys. And we'll get to that when I switch over to the scroll saw. But we'll talk about some of the stuff that you see here. You've already seen these, I think, at one point or another before they were finished, and we'll talk about those. I think you saw these last week. These were the teethers, and if you didn't see it last week, they were, before they were finished, so let's move that to the camera. I don't know how well the finish comes through, but what I used on these would be beeswax and coconut oil. Basically, one of these, let me turn that, get that in there. There we go, I think you can see that now. I'm using the Clark's cutting board wax, and it's all natural, 100% plant derived. That is so that it is not only food safe, something that you can ingest, but you can use it on toys. So that's really good. What I like about it is that pretty much within 10-15 minutes, you're done. So here is an example of walnut and what it looks like with the beeswax finish. And what I like is, I don't have it handy dandy. I use, for some reason, I burn through my socks right in the ball of the foot. Wear a hole through it. My wife doesn't want to darn them. So it's like, okay, I just throw them in a pile next to my hand cleaner. And either I use it when I'm cleaning grease and stuff like that and then throw them out. Or I use it to apply the wax. So what happens is you apply the wax, let it sit for 10, 15, 20 minutes so that it kind of hardens a little bit, and then just buff it right off, wipe it right off, and you're ready to rock. So what that allows me to do is leave the wheels and anything else I want in an unfinished state. So I really like the contrast of the wheels, little people, and the smokestack of this particular piece. And what's nice is once I get it all wiped on, wiped off, wax on, wax off. Yeah, sorry about that. No, I'm not. So as soon as I get it on, let's get it on. Yeah, woo! Sorry. Yeah, I'm really sorry for that. I can immediately go and finish it. Otherwise, one of two things happens. Either if I only finish this in the linseed oil, it's got to sit for weeks. that's one issue, but the issue that happens then is that the linseed oil gets in the drill holes, and I think that weakens the adhesion with the glue. So that means I have to dip the whole thing, which I've been doing. The problem is with linseed oil, this starts to yellow, and I don't like the way it looks. So I've got a whole bunch of toys that I'm going to be giving away with the 125, and I'm not happy with it. Now, talking about this particular design, let me put that back up. This is a really easy version to cut. You know, it takes but a couple minutes to cut one of these out, because if you line it up on the edge of the wood, you're only doing 3.5 sides. Depends on how you do it. I do them out of scrap or what have you. But, you know, you're talking an arc here, this fancy thing, and straight across. So nothing difficult. Your only difficult part, and that would be when you Forstner the little people hole. You got to make sure that you're absolutely dead center. Same thing with the smokestack. Make sure they're absolutely dead center and get them done, and in they go. Now, one of the things I started doing, and I'm still vacillating as to what I want to do, and that is gluing the little people in. My concern is, what is it, CPSC, the Child Protection Safety something, and basically child safety. And I want to make sure that my toys are child safe. The biggest one, we talked about it last week, and you can see the little tester right there for choke hazards. Now, this in itself, if it had come out, would be a choke hazard, as with this, as with my pegs. So I'm gluing them in with Gorilla Glue. They're not coming out. This is actually down at least an inch. I drilled way down. This is actually a long peg. So that's really important. So I'm trying to make sure, in particular, the pegs are absolutely secure and they can survive that 4.5 foot drop 10 times and they won't come apart. So there you go. I just whipped out these two yesterday. I had a lot of other work to do. I'm out in the yard. I'm starting to prep for the fall and the winter. I've been trimming the trees, cutting branches and things like that. So you saw this last week, I believe, and let me remove the spares. Now I do have another one. I did post it on my Facebook, Poppy's Workshop, VA Beach, something like that. I think I have a link in my my profile on this, so you can see not only my website, but the my website that has my blogs on it, but also my Facebook. And I'm starting to do a change in my Facebook page. Usually what it's been has just been the reposts of my blogs that I put on my website. But what I'm going to start doing right now is going to be a series on particular toys and just describing the toys. I'm not getting into the process of how I do the toy. So the tractor is the first one that I posted today. And, you know, it's more of a, I don't want to say a sales pitch because I'm not selling the toys, but it's kind of a sales pitch for the style of toy more than anything else, and just showing what I'm doing. So, as I discussed last week, the 125 toys, I tried to think about doing some for the older kids that are in the hospitals, you know, being treated for cancer and things like that. Assuming they're going to have their own activity bags with Mom's Advocate, or Advocate. I got to ask Chrissy about that. So here is the finished version, and I actually did this with Old Masters gel. So that only takes about a day or two to cure and dry. Um, Very durable finish. You know, once it's cured, you don't have to worry about things. And again, being that this is the older kids, most likely they're not going to be trying to eat it. So this particular game that I have on display right now is the fox and hens. So here is the fox, here is the hens, and the fox can move in any direction. I don't remember, I have to check my rules if they can move diagonal. I think he's only allowed to move diagonal one place, but he's not allowed to jump that way, whereas he can jump any front, back, and horizontal. Then you have the hens. The hens can only move forward and sideways. Now, the goal of the game is the fox has to capture 8 of the hens. In other words, take 8 of the hens off of the pegboard. And let me move that in closer, because with the Master's Gel, again, walnut looks so beautiful. And I'm not going for the super glossy look, just a nice satin, and it just brings out the grain, and I really like working with the walnut. So anyway, as I said, they can move either forward or sideways, but not backwards. Their goal is to corner the fox. Now, as I was working on this, I think, again, I mentioned it last week, I said, wow, wait a second, there is another game here. And what I can do is fill absolutely all the holes except for the central hole. All right, so imagine all these pegs, all right, and everything's filled except for that center hole. And your goal with that game is to jump pegs and get it down so that only one peg is left. So that is a cool thing to do. So that's the second game. So let me back up one. The fox and hens, either 1 or 2 people can play. The other game where you're jumping pegs trying to get to 1 is a 1-person game. And then as I was looking at this, I thought, wow, wait a second, this is cool. Let me just put the spares back in. If I remove these here, I have a tic-tac-toe board here. And in actuality, you can play 2 tic-tac-toe games at the same time if you wanted to. But there you have a mini tic-tac-toe game with the existing toys there, pegs. Now, I did make one other board, and I made that with the shallow, wider holes, and it has the marbles. And I don't remember, I know I posted it on Scroll Saw Village, and that is, I gotta put this somewhere. Okay, when I walk around. On Scroll Saw Village, I did post recently not only the tractor, but I did post the games with another game, my baseball game, for even the older kids. So I've got a good variety of toys for the 125. I think I'm at 90 now, because again, I took some out because of the concern of the finish and a few other things. So that's good there. Now, what are we going to do today? Real quick, I actually have 2 cars we are going to cut out. Let me get that close. There we go. So these are my first car, and I've got one made out of ash, which is, I think that's ash. Maybe that's maple. Huh, I forgot. Gotta look at the end grain. I think that's a hard maple. So we got that, and you can see I've already cut 2 toys out of that before. And my mistake, what I should have done when I did this before, and you can see I cut some of the triangle games out too. I could have made better use of the space and not had as much waste. But this here, what I tried to do was put the cars bottom to bottom, which was really stupid to do, because what I should have done is put it head to head and then had the bottom to the edge, which is already squared out. And that would have saved me this cut here. My goal when I'm cutting toys is to cut as few lines or as few inches as possible to get the maximum cut. So what I'll do if I cut another one out of this is there'll be another one, let me make sure I'm on it, will be right here. And hopefully, even though this is a cut here, let's see, I don't think I can fit one there, but I might be able to fit a third car here. So I'm going to print out another one, see if I can get two more, I know I can get one, but see if I can get a second car out of that, and I'll be happy with minimizing the waste wood. So, real easy, we're going to cut that out real quick. Let me go back to this. And then we'll bring it to the Franken router. So, Forstner, I think this was a 25 millimeter hole. And then I think these were 1/4 inch because what I plan on doing, I couldn't use pegs because the pegs were a different style. They were a little bit longer than the short ones, which would have been perfect. I'm going to do a through hole because these are the raised hubs, which I like because then I can just put it to my mini belt sander and I don't have to be super, oh, what's holding that up? There we go, make sure, yeah, when I put it to the big mop. So basically, that's what's going to happen. And I'll have a somewhere here. When I tap them into place, I have this as my little guide so that I have some clearance behind. Now I've noticed that some folk who are making toys are using washers, and that does concern me again as a choke hazard. You know what I could have done, dummy me, I could have pre-glued all these, which is usually what I do. We may do that before we start cutting. So let me move that over to the Franken table. I'll pick that up along the way. Yeah, I think that's what we're going to wind up doing. So what they do is they're using washers. And my concern is, again, is if the axles break, the pegs or whatever, they break, well, now you got a chokeable, a choke hazard that can be loose. So I do it by eye. I don't mind, I try to minimize any slop that there is. But yeah, so let's do this. This is one of the wood glues that I use. This dries clear. I also use the one that is more tan. So here's what I also do. You may get a kick out of this. This is a used blade, and I think I've shown you before what I do. Where is that puppy? Oh, there he is. I'll do this. So you can see this was from a failed experiment. You can see the little people here. I drilled a hole in his head because I was doing the spinning pilot in the helicopter. But what wound up happening is he burned, I went through the neck, so of course I couldn't use that. So I decided, hey, old blades, I'm going to put them in there. And now what I do is I use these, I dip it in the glue, and it kind of builds up. And after a while, sometimes they get a little thick. So I've got 2 of them, and it works cool. So what we're going to do, this may be too big for this hole. We're gonna, yeah, that's too big. Okay, so let me wipe that. But actually, that did work. Yep, it did go through. Okay, I'm gonna put that there, and it fell on the floor. Nice. Let me grab another one here. Actually, if I could find, there it is, a thick one. I really like using the 7s and the 9s. That works real well. So then I'm just going to put it right through. Have a little bit of the, axle come through, wipe off the spare, residual glue, that'll get sanded anyway. And I'll put it over a, now I could do the axle itself first. I'm still trying to figure best method. There we go. So now this is a new one. Yeah, that works. Much better. I think, yeah, let me do it here. Yeah, I'm just going back trying to get the glue to adhere to the walls of the axle hole. There we go. That works. Let's see, that's one car. I'm sure I don't do too many. I can be a real space cadet sometimes. But depending, sometimes I have to do it from both sides of the hole. So I pre-cut these axles. Ah, man, I'm getting this all over. Jeez Louise. Yeah, my hands, I've been not having very good fine motor skills lately. Age is catching up. I used to have the steadiest of hands. Not that that's super critical there. All right, one more. But this glue is really nice and strong. Nice and strong. Let's see, that's the worst side. Yeah, smear it around. There we go. And I'm spinning it as I bring it up. There we go. Okay. We'll let those four dry as we move to the scroll saw in a moment. So again, that is the clear Gorilla Glue. And I like that. I forgot what brand. I think it was the Elmer's Wood Glue. That is the more tan color is the other that I have. So let me put that there. Make sure I don't step on the other. So we are all set here. Let me move over to the scroll saw. Let me move one of these back for now. Put that there. There we go. And I think we're good. I did have issues today with the microphones. That's why I was a couple minutes late. For some reason, my mic pack was not showing up in the audio mixer. I mean, it was there, but it wasn't working. So I had to redo it. And let's see here. This, oh man. Okay, son of a gun. I don't know what the heck is going on. Wait a second. Something happened to my scroll saw. My hand is on the blade and it's not. Darn it. That's the issue that I had a couple weeks ago. My scroll saw, the picture keeps freezing and I don't understand why. I had it all set. I tested before, but I guess when I added the microphone, it, well, wait a second. You know, I'm seeing it move on the studio. Maybe it actually is working. So what I'm going to do, you're going to, it's not what I wanted to do. Oh, man. Wait a second. Edit, give me an undo. Okay. There we go. Yeah. All right, it's back. So let me get my hand back in there, see if it's going to show up on the studio, but it's not showing up on OBS. Yeah, now it's not showing up on the studio. All right, so you're going to hear my voice. This is just a simple cut. It's going to take just but a minute. Kind of irritating for sure. Let me get the air hoses out of the way. And let's see. Yeah, that's frozen there. Let me try this. Let me go back to the workbench. And yep, it's working. Let me go to this. Oh, we're not going to be able to see, but we're going to go there in a moment. Okay, yeah. I don't know what the heck is going on. Why anytime I move my main camera or something happens, yeah, that's not working. All right, let me get this out of the way. I'm going to speed this up. Actually, I do need my puffer. At least it's quiet without the main vacuum going on. I need to slow it down now. I am using the number 7 Flying Dutchman, ultra reverse, because this is such an easy and flowing cut. Yeah, in order for me to get my camera to work again, I would have to shut down OBS. I mean, what I could try and do after I finish this cut, I'm about 3/4 of the way through. I could try and add the camera again. And I'm getting to the front here now. Front bumper. And stretch. There we go. Yeah, let's switch back to the workbench. Yeah, so again, very, very easy cut. Let me take the stencil off. Now, what I did in this case, because I'm producing these so quickly, I am applying the stencil directly to the wood. Normally, I will take clear shelf liner and then use the 3M 77 glue on the stencil, put it on. But what I'm actually using is the Elmer's repositionable glue, and actually I'll hold it up when I get to the belt sander in a little bit, and I use that, and it goes on just like everything else. Being that it's a big, it works well. If you're doing detailed work, don't use it that way, because your stencil will tear and it'll lift up and everything. But being that this is a single flowing cut, yeah, we're not going to worry about that. So let me see if I can do something here. Audio, image, media source, video capture device. I'm going to try this, add existing, USB, okay. Nope, still frozen. All right, let me do this. Let me delete this. Yeah, this is quite unfortunate. That this is causing fits. I kind of hope that this will work. Nope, not working. So we're gonna, what can we do here? Let me go back to the workbench. This is quite unfortunate. Yeah, that's stuck. And I can't close down the application without losing the stream. So, boo on that. All right, so let's do this. Let me move this over, and let's complete one car. Let's do that. At least on this video, we're 30 minutes in. I'll show you what I do. So, let me move this back over to here. Let's, hopefully this isn't going to screw things up. I'm going to try, so we can see the Franken router. There we go. Let's see. I'm trying to get light on the Franken router, and I'm really thinking of getting a real router table. Let me get this out of the way. Let's see. That's kind of bright. There we go. Okay. So let's, pardon me coming across. Get the power on. All right. So what I'm going to do is, of course, I'm going to router the whole, and I'm going to router both sides. So this is, again, a really flowing type. I am going to make noise on this because, again, one of the issues that I have, and the funny thing is I actually accidentally bought a router kit for the vacuum. It had the rubber overlay and everything like that, and I wound up throwing it away after not using it for months. And then I finally got this stupid thing. But basically, it would have a shroud that goes around the bottom that catches everything, and then a split to the top. And I think what I may wind up doing is just biting the bullet rather than spending 100 and something on a whole new 169 on one with a built-in router, but I'd like to get the variable. So I'm debating. You know, I got a bonus, so we'll see. Anyway, I'm gonna make some noise with the vacuum. Let's start. so let's show that now that it's quiet. Back up just a little bit here. All right, so you can see that that's all smoothed out and everything. Real nice. That's good. Let's see what I want. Oh man, you know, this is the bad thing about a small workshop trying to do a video where you're trying to do a lot of different things. So let's do this. Let's turn a little bit. Here we go. All right. So this is my big. Yes, I'm trying to get this stool out of the way. This is my big drill press. I have two drill presses, and it's actually funny. I was going to give it as a gift, but he didn't take it. So anyway, this is my 14 inch. I do have my, I think it's the 8 inch. Let me point that away. We're going to go to that momentarily. You might be able to see it, I'm not sure, because it's next to my mini belt sander, disc sander. It's a 5-inch disc and a 21 by 1 belt over yonder that way on a cart doing nothing. I do have another belt and disc sander. This is, I think it's like 5 inches wide, a 6-inch disc on that one. That's what I do the aggressive. So what we'll do is we're going to break these edges a little bit more. Stools in the way. There we go. Okay. So I go around, even though this part really doesn't need it, again, I'm coming at an angle because I want to smooth out all those edges. I think I go a little bit overboard in getting butter smooth edges. I do get my toys slower. Now this is a 240 grit box center. Yeah, the end grain is what you got to watch for. I mean, it's not bad, but where the end grain is, where you're most likely going to get just a wee bit of roughness. Not bad, but again, if I can minimize it as best as possible. Yeah. Oh, and you know something? I am going to finish this in the wax today. So I'm going to be able to do that now. How about that? Alright, let's get this finished. That's funny. As I was here, I'm not doing it to the ash. The ash I'm using natural, but of course the walnut. Walnut, I definitely use. Yeah, so I'm constantly rubbing my fingers over that. All right, let's get stuff out of the way because one of the other things that I do want to do now is let me go get my my wax and my sock. What do I do with the wax? Oh, there it is. Okay. It's on the Franken router. in actuality, you know, I should use what I have. I got a new collar for the Frankenrouter, and that is one made out of aluminum rather than the plastic. And let me move these. There we go. Okay, let me get this down. Oh, let me look at the comments here. Hey, I'm doing well, thank you. You know, just trying to finish one toy, show you some of the process that I am doing. Had trouble with the camera for the, well, that's interesting. Why does the workbench not show my camera? Oh, there it is, the anchor. Okay, just getting weird here. For some reason, my Canon, if I just move it a little bit, the picture freezes on the scroll saw. So that's kind of irritating. So I'm going to figure out a workaround on that. So anyway, let's get to the next step. As I was saying earlier, I had a little change in philosophy in how I am finishing the toys. Number one, especially walnut, as you saw in, let me grab that, the tractor, look at the difference in the walnut finished and unfinished. So what I was doing was using raw linseed oil, which is child and food safe. However, the raw, being that it doesn't have any dryers or anything in like that, takes a real long time to cure. At first I thought it was a week, but it just keeps weeping, which is ridiculous. I should show you some of the cardboard, and you know, it bleeds over to other toys. So as I said, here are my favorite socks. These are Dickies. But my problem is, I don't know if you can see this. This is what happens. I burn through these really quick. The same thing with the inserts of my shoes. I'm wearing some, I forgot what these are. These are the Skechers. They're just nice and comfortable. Great for around the office and everything. But I wore out the bottoms of the ones that I'm wearing now. So I think I bought them like a year and a half, 2 years ago, $60. But then I've replaced the inserts 3 times because, again, at the ball of the foot, I'm wearing them out. Oh my. So anyway, back to the change of philosophy. So I do take those socks, I do wash them, put them in a pile next to my my lava soap and my pump hand cleaner and everything. What is it, the Super Orange or something like that? But now I can use it for wiping up grease, whatever, but also for putting on, in this case again, this is the Clark's cutting board wax, and that is made out of the beeswax and coconut oil. And I just take a little bit, not much, and smear it on and get it into the holes. Now, the one disadvantage is if you have toys that have tight designs. There we go. So now you can see how that's starting to look. Let's flip it around. There's the before. And there is the after. So you can see the difference. I probably didn't even need to do that, but I'll go along the edge now. So again, in about, I'm going to do it quicker, but in about 20 minutes, I can wipe off any excess wax. But in actuality, the way that I put it on already, you really don't have to, because I'm not putting a lot on. I think that was more so when you do a cutting board, you put it on a lot heavier, of course, on the cutting board. So there you go. I think that, checking all the edges. Checking inside, there we go. Okay. Now, what I'll do, this is where I wipe it. I just go like that. There we go. Okay. Boom. Let's cover that up. And that's how quickly you can finish that particular piece. Now, there's no wax inside. Actually, you know, wax in there might not have been too bad because I am doing a through axle, but in this case, let's go do the gluing. So what I'm going to do, I forgot. Yeah, these were cut for other. Come on, be the dog, be the dog. No. I guess these are for other ones that I did. Bummer. So close. All right, so I'm just going to do this. I'm going to let it, I'll do one at a time. So, where's my new one? Bring this up. So this is kind of the slow production way of doing things. I'm sure there's a lot faster way, whoops, come on baby, of doing this. But again, every toy that I do gets attention. Yeah, see, that rolls nice. But what I'm afraid is going to happen, so I'm going to tuck it underneath, is I want to make sure there we go. I'll wipe off any excess behind and put it down. Come on, baby. Let's get that extra glue off the top. And we gotta let that set. Now that is going to be a little problem because I did want to get to the, oh, you know what I can do? I can do the individual ones. So there we go. That's not too bad. Let me double check that these, with that piece in there, are going to spin nice. And we'll let that dry. But what I'll do is we're going to move over to the mini belt sander. And I'll show you how I do the wheels. Normally, of course, I would do this on the car. And we're just going to smooth those out. So let's move over second camera, I think. Yes, there we go. All right, so let me move over there. I think we still have audio. Yes, we do. All right. So all of my tools are foot pedal controlled. For the most part, I bought the inexpensive Wen foot pedals, and they work real well. Let me take a look at my. I can't see what it looks like from when I'm over there. So, okay, I can see the side disc. I can see. Okay, so you can see the side disc, and I'll show you one of the other tricks that I do here in a moment, which again is pretty cool. Let me get that out, and let's see. Let me go grab one. I don't know where they all are. I think those are the thick ones. Ha. Okay, there we go. And we'll grab one of those. All right, I'm going to put a couple things here for another demonstration. So usually I'd have it on the car There we go. I gotta find where my foot pedal is. Usually, again, I'll have down here, I'll move the vacuum hose from the back of the scroll saw to here, or to the other side, depending on which one I'm using. And then, actually, let me do this. I'm gonna do it from the side. That's usually what I prefer to do. I can see what I'm actually sanding. It didn't make the hub as high. That's not good. So my supplier, I'm irritated. You know, if it isn't one thing, it's another. I'm going to do that by hand. Usually the hub is higher. That irritates me. So I'm actually scuffing the wheel. Yep, scuffing the wheel. I may have to leave them up just a little bit. Yeah, that's quite unfortunate. So I am a little bit irritated that this batch, I just spent $250 on wheels, pegs, got a few yo-yos, got some bowling pins, more balls, rings, all kinds of stuff to make toys. So yeah, that's unfortunate. I'm gonna have to, I'll buff that out. Okay, let me move that over to there, but let me show you another trick that I do here. So one of the other things that I have to do is when I use pegs and they go in, one of the issues that you will have is, let me get a 3, I think I've got a 3/4. Yeah, here's a 3/4. Okay. So if you look, that peg goes almost all the way through to the other side. Well, that can be problematic because you're going to have another wheel in the same hole, through hole. So what you need to do is get it so that it is just a little bit less than halfway through on this 3/4 inch wood, because that's what I'm making the toys out of, is 3/4 inch wood. So what I did, where did it go? Oh, is I took a slab wheel and I took that slab wheel and I carefully sanded it down to be a little bit less than the half of that 3/4. So now what I'll do is, you can probably just barely see it now, is you'll see some Sharpie lines here, and that tells me how much I'm wearing on this particular piece, and then whether I have to replace it or not. And it also reminds me to be really gentle when I get down. So what I do is the peg goes through, the peg goes through, the peg comes out. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to sand that off. Now, one of the issues that I had is trying to do it this way, and I usually do it on this. I'm trying to hold it and move it a little bit to sand that peg down, but then this may come off or whatever. So what I started to do, especially when I'm doing a whole bunch of these, and this is some waste, I'd put a brand new one on, is I would wrap it all the way around. This only went part way with the blue tape, so this stays on. So now, actually, let me double check again. I think you can see that wheel. Let me get my focus there. I'll do it on the right side. Okay. I can't find my extra pads there. I may have to purchase some more. So then all I do is this. I move it around so it doesn't burn. All right, it's almost to it. So, whoops, let me get it down there. So it's almost to the flat there. So I got to make sure my fingernails are out of the way. Boom. And now you can see it's perfectly flush. And then that peg comes up, usually comes out easy. Oh, yeah. The joys of live. Usually I do have something, whether it's another peg. There we go. And I didn't have it taped all the way anyway. So now, let me take that off that wheel, because this isn't normally how I usually do a better job. So now, if we get that piece of wood back, you'll see how it is a little bit less than half. I think I may have to adjust this because I think I'm cutting these short, a little bit too short now. Yeah, I think I need to revisit that particular spacer because again, these are a new batch of wheels and I'm finding the inconsistencies in the dimensions of those. Here is another wheel that I use. This is what I really like. Oh man. Sorry, I just dropped the microphone. Let me get you back in. Okay, so this is another. Yeah, that's way too short for that. So, so for each wheel, it has its own distance, and we're just concerned about getting, to that half of that 3/4 mark. So that's what I do on those. This has disappointed me. So the next one that I do, I may have to revisit the actual sanding of it down. Let me switch back to the bench. Here we go. It's getting warm in here. I have the air conditioner off. And we're just about an hour, so this is good. I think this is a good place to end. So here is what this guy looks like. And what I will do is I will, again, take those down. And I'm trying to think what I may use instead. I could use a little bit bigger one of these on my Dremel and do it this way. So I may try doing that. That may work quite well. We can try that. But I want to make sure, I usually like to give at least 30, 40 minutes for these to dry. So anyway, what I'll do, I guess we don't have to see that, is I will sand those, get them flush, then I will go back up to the mop sander. And what I like to do is my mop sander is set up for 900 RPM, and I will smooth it out. I'll put the mop here, go like that, but I will spin these and let them spin, 15, 20 seconds or something like that. That will loosen up any burrs or things like that. The wheels will move real smooth. Like, they're like, these are sticking a little bit, but they're loose. But I want it so that it does this. So when I put it up, let me see, I guess I can do that. Let me move the camera up a little bit here. Yeah, there we go. And I gotta move everything again. Quite unfortunate. I need another table. So what I will do, and what this also does is it tests the adhesion of the axles as well. So as this spins, not only is it cleaning up, buffing, but it's also testing wheel axles, pegs, connection themselves. Again, we're at 910 RPM. So I'll do both sides. Change the angle. I'm going to wait on that one because I still see some green. So now, it feels a whole lot smoother. And notice that, well, that's still, it rolls good that way. Yeah, there we go. So there's some sawdust there. But you can see it's rolling a lot nicer. So I'm going to put it on there one more time. So once I knock those edges off here and here, we're going to be good to go. So I think that covers it for today, this week. I will be back next week. I got to figure out what I'm doing, because again, right now, trying to finish up the last 30 toys, it's just, man, this is really, really wearing on me, to be honest. I don't think I'm ever going to do something this large by myself again, because, you know, I do a lot of toys, but it's like 10, 15, 20, and I'll take a few weeks, I'll have a bunch ready, I'll find an organization, boom, I deliver. That way there's no pressure. Let me lower back to the bench here. That way there's no pressure to get it done. Whereas now, you know, I have an October deadline. And with the issues that I had this summer or early spring when I was temporarily blinded in one eye, and that cost me 3 months, I could not stay on the line for the life of me, trying to look through one eye. Even that started blurring as well. So once that healed, then the heat wave came in, and even my little air conditioner that's up there, right there behind me, that couldn't keep up with it. So I need to get a split in here, so that way I can have heat and have decent cooling and be able to work more. So I lost a good month and a half, because man, that heat just tapped me. You know, I'd go out and I would work in the yard, and I'd last 15, 20 minutes. Sweat's pouring off of me. You know, we're talking 95 degrees with a heat index of 105. It sucks. So it set me behind. And, you know, look, if I deliver 100 toys, you know, that's great. I would love to do the 125, just because I said, yeah, I'll do 125. Yeah, so that's what I'm working on. So it's kind of boring. You know, I've already, and then working in between that, I'm trying to do my Christmas items. I've already got most of that done as well. And then, of course, gift items. So what winds up happening is like, oh my gosh, there's some birthdays coming up. Oh my gosh, a baby's going to be born. I need some gifts. So either I take them out of the 125 pile, which I think I've taken probably 10 out of, I need to get those done as well. So I still have those self-imposed obligations. So I don't think I'm going to do something like this again to this volume, unless I can get some people to help me. And that's a whole nother story in how to do that. You know, because there's a guy, Rick's Toy Box. You know, he makes a toy somewhat similar to this here. Much smaller wheels and everything. He doesn't finish them, and he gives them with a crayon and I think a lollipop. So it's basically an activity toy. The kids can color it themselves. So I kind of have that philosophy with the with this one here, with the ash. I do have like 200 boxes of crayons, just, you know, 4 or 5 crayons in each, and I may just rubber band them to it and have an activity car as well. So there you go. I think that pretty much covers it for this week. We will be back, hopefully, 10 o'clock next Sunday. So, with that, may the Lord richly bless you. Make it a great day right here at Poppy's Workshop.